Well, good morning. Happy Memorial Day weekend. It's Friday, a little before noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. We'll make this quick. Gonna try to get back to doing these. Covering Gulfstream Park about 3 days a week. No turf racing this weekend, so all Tapeta and dirt it looks like. So card today, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of strong plays, and it, it was early, and then the four horse scratched here. I thought probably was a single, but scratched out. I think it opens the first race probably a little bit. I was originally 4-2-3. Now I'm 2-3. Maybe the 7-9-6 is long shots. You can see the six is taking money. If we watch the race sim, the two I love Stone. If you're E user, you'll see that little yellow dot. That means there's analysis there. Maybe this horse can get loose, tie it with a bow, and be right there with leading jockey Sammy Camacho. Sammy Camacho dominating at the Gulfstream Park meet, 34 wins. Mr. Vasquez second. I think he's at 28. Yeah. Diego Herrera riding outstanding. You'll see on the race sim 3 wins, 7 and 8 closing. Again, I was originally, 4 is maybe a single scratched. I think you might get through with 2-3. If you want to spread, though, the 6, 7, 9 are all players, with the scratch. So not super strong opinion in race 1. Let's jump to race 2. Strike going to be a heavy favorite. Most people probably single here in this sequence. I think has experience. It has a nice strong pace advantage. If I single, this is it. I'm not sure I'm going to play this card. I mean, it's okay. It gets is just a massive pace advantage and essentially runs them off their feet. They are 2-year-olds, so they're babies. They're sprinting 5. The 5 is the only one with experience. These are all firsters here. Most of these you can see. Before Strike, gets to the Carlos David Bard for Arundel. So again, if I'm singling early, it's probably here, mainly because I watched most of these had works on First TV. So was able to look at some works from a genetic strength rating perspective. That's our surface and distance metric. It points to the 5-2-3. The 1 is 4th. The top 4 genetic strength ratings win about 70% of the time. 70. So very strong metric, great for maidens. I didn't love, there is no works on it smoking for Minguet. So Minguet can pop with firsters, right? 2 for 10, 2-year-olds does really well. So this is one I'm not sure on, right? This is my only concern. I didn't really like the work of Awesome Noah. So it kind of lands towards Strike. The XG Man didn't break well, but worked okay for Lightner. But, it's smoking kind of the one that I'm not sure because the works aren't flashy. Let me close this. Come on. There's not a line here, but Minguet can pop. But I think with Arundel moving this to Carlos David, leading jockey Sammy Camacho rides, I think will be tough. I really do. But outside that, maybe the 3, I don't know. It again, I thought it was tough. I would have loved to see some words for it smoking for Minguet. But Carlos David, this is such a strong win percent. And again, this horse kind of romps on the race sim. So race 3, I did think the 4 was a bit of a player, Full Nelson, but scratched out of here. I would be just probably too deep here. Saratoga Flash and I think Relampago Verde, I think, are probably the 2 to use that you could get through here. I know Goldfit has some speed here on the Tapeta going 2 turns. I think Saratoga Flash will be right there, as well as Verde. They come with the 2 strongest genetic strength ratings, and Saratoga Flash actually has a bit of a pace advantage. So I think, here getting over to the Tapeta for the 1 could help. You could see right there on the race sim, 1-7 are both there. I think that in horizontals, that's probably where I would go. you could see Saratoga Flash for Tomlinson, Drexler, switch Barnes here, and now over to Tomlinson. Mika Rides having a great meet. Been racing at this level, 1-3 back right off the pace. I think will be forwardly placed. And again, Goldfoot, I think, is a little bit cheap. You can see from these strength of races. I think backs up, and I think the 1 or 7 can sit the trip. You could see the 7 for DeBona and Diego Herrera, who riding outstanding at Gulfstream Park. If you're not following, he's third in wins. He's about to be second, and just having an absolutely outstanding Royal Palm meet. So somebody to continually watch if you're playing Gulfstream Park, I think, can sit a good trip. But I'll probably try to get through with 2 there. Race 4, I thought was probably a 3-horse race. Liz loves shopping. I think the picks have this race. I won't spend too much time here, but I think the picks could get you through here. I thought you could beat Sarah's Rose the 4. Blonde Jack, I think, fits. The 7, didn't break last out. I will tell you, I had a note there and couldn't get the lead. And this horse clearly needs the lead. So Ferrer jumps aboard. He's only had a few mounts at the meet, but he shows back up. He's rode here at Gulfstream last summer as well for the Royal Palm and Sunshine meet. And if this horse gets to the front, could be long gone. At a nice price for a long shot. But I was 7-1-5 in race 4. Here, I thought this was a competitive maiden claimer. It's really not a great group, right? Everybody's been running. You have a lightly raced runners in More Than Shadow and Miss Valentina. I thought definitely were players, but again, I was pretty narrow. I had the 6 on top. I do think More Than Shadow could wire the field, could back up as well. Miss Valentina, a player, and Ivy My Love, a big long shot, I think, has a big shot. And the crazy thing, we'll watch this, the 6 could get loose for sure on the front end. That's a pretty good pace advantage sprinting 7, and this is not a great group. Soda player, though, comes, but kind of the crazy thing, look at Ivy My Love actually on the race sim, shows some ability to sit off and win some race sim at 15-1 top pick. Definitely a live player there. I like the 6 and 2 at prices in this race, so I think even if you play a horizontal, even if that chalks out in race 2, I think it could pay okay, because I think you can find a couple prices in other races. But again, another tough kind of competitive race today. Let's see. We'll talk about maybe a couple more. Cross Ace, I try to beat this horse all day in race 6. There's other speed to the inside, and Cross Ace, I believe, is 0 for 16, sprinting 6 furlongs on the dirt. 0 for 16. And might go off as the favorite. I have the 5 in Tedre on top. One of my stronger picks on the day, I would say. I think this horse can sit a beautiful trip and or Prairie Hawk, right? I like the late sequence a little bit better, I would say, just because I think you could get some prices. I don't think Prince David has to win off the lead. This horse is a player, but I thought that Intedre with the top genetic strength rating and Prairie Hawk, I believe Sammy Camacho's riding, yes, either one of these horses to sit off the early speed and completely against Cross Ace. If this horse goes off as the favorite, again, 0 for 16 going 6 furlongs. And it's competitive bottom level 625 claimers. So I thought was a player here, 5 or 3. Ace Ventura could get loose up front too and just put Cross Ace away. But I thought maybe Prairie Hawker and Tedre could sit the trip there. I thought this race was wide open. Race 7, Musical Journey could win. Answer the Call, maybe a little bit of look on the Tapeta, but I also thought you could have some long shots like the 5, 6, or 8, so I won't talk too much about that race because I don't have a strong opinion on this one. Tapeta, 8,000 claimer, a lot of horses that have won. It's a tough one. I thought one tougher races. So feature race of the day, an allowance. You got Sappy, you got Barbosa, and you got D'Angelo. I think it's definitely between the 3 of those. Leading jockey Sammy Camacho rides 100 Kings for Victor Barbosa Jr., seeing his second wins behind Sappy, having an outstanding meet. But I'm 3 or 6 here. I'm trying to beat the 1. Is gonna morning line favorite. Ramajay with speed. for Mr. Safi Joseph, leading at the meet once again. 17 wins. Victor Barbosa Jr. with the 1. He's sitting back at 14, and Mr. D'Angelo heating up with 10 with Pardo here. So it's a great little competitive race with really the 3 key trainers at the Royal Palm meet, I would say. One of them going to win the title. But Ramajay might get loose, have a little bit of a pace advantage. I think 100 Kings is beatable here. I'm either 3 or 6. I'll put the 3 on top. Maybe the 1 and 6 duel. I think D'Angelo has this one ready to roll. 1 is a 2-year-old first time out, has a really strong genetic strength rating again. The 5 or the 3 and 6 both really strong there. But if the 6 and 1 kind of duel, and the 6 can put a lot of pressure on the 1, Pardo might sit the trip. Reyes rides for Mr. D'Angelo, and they do well, 23%. One of his go-to riders as well. When you look back, I mean, just a strong, consistent work tab. Nothing crazy flashy or anything. I did watch a couple of the works, and again, I think this horse ready to go off the way off. But Safi could be tough with Ramajay, but I'm against the 1. With 2 heavy favorites there, I'm going to make a choice. This is 3 or 6 for me. And then in the last, this is a good race at the end to end in any type of pick 5, pick 6 sequence. The 4 might go. The 4 might wire the field. Sammy Camacho on Viking Sun, the 9, though. I think he puts a ton of pressure, though. And, you got a firster and Strategic Warrior. I will tell you that horse is working well. If it can show any amount of speed, I think will be in the mix late. I necessarily just don't trust the 4 up front. This horse is burned money, red hot, not bothered. Burned money, 3 out of 7 races, 5 second place finishes. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you. Thanks for chiming in, buddy. I'm glad to see you. Good morning. I hope you have a good holiday weekend. Everybody else too. Again, so here I'm 7194 Evil Empire, also a mix. Off the speed. This is a tough post for Viking Sun, but this horse does have speed, and the 4 might back up, and Sammy might get first jump on Viking Sun. Comes from this level, but a really, really not a great group when we look at this, right? An 0 for 11, 0 for 7, 0 for 7, 0 for 5, and a firster here. Again, Strategic Warrior is the firster I would look at. The morning line is at 5-2. This horse is working well. I will tell you, I did get to watch some works here as well. Has a bullet work here. Anything under 12 seconds a furlong we like. We see it there, and I got a chance to watch this work. The May 9th work wasn't online, but the second one, and this horse just kind of completely smashed the horses to its inside. It was racing with working with 2 others. So, not super strong opinions today, but we like some prices in a couple of those races, a couple chalks. Try to put them together. We'll be back, more coverage tomorrow and Sunday. I like some races this weekend, so maybe get some stronger opinions there. But we back. We'll try to get these in each day. We're just racing 3 days a week right now at Gulfstream Park. And good luck today. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy some time with family and friends. Thanks everybody who served. Chat soon.